Okay, here we go.
Testing 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2.
Why do people say testing 1 2?
I don't have a clue. I don't know.
Even
I have no idea.
if you watch videos from like South Korea or Kazakhstan, they go testing 1
Yeah.
2.
Yeah, here in Thailand, nung song, sam.
Or do they actually? No, I think most of the time they say testing 1 2
Oh.
in English.
In English.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Either do I.
I'm a prop guy, not a sound guy.
Clearly. Hi everybody, welcome to Grumpy Old Men. This is episode number 64. I'm sort of remembering them now.
Wow. Remember number 6? Oh,
My God.
That's a great episode.
And that
number 6.
interruption in number 8.
Oh, number 8. Oh my God. Who could forget? Number 8.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And we were looking so much younger in those days.
Yeah. We don't even talk about 16. No.
Oh, no.
Episode 16 is, we don't talk about that. No.
But we do talk about episode number 63 because you have corrected many of the things that we were saying. The sort of the Steve got it wrong has now become the
They
program.
got it wrong.
Yeah.
They got it wrong.
Let's have a talk about, very quickly, low season in Thailand. This is traditionally the time where things get quieter.
Mm-hmm.
For many years, there was a time when the Chinese started coming to Thailand, and they were coming mostly in the middle section of the year, whereas most of the Westerners were staying in their sort of, their own warm climate.
Mm-hmm.
And so places like Phuket and Pattaya and other places that had a lot of tourists, their low seasons weren't quite as low as they used to be. But people are saying this year's low season is low. It's sort of like quite quiet.
Oh, I was expecting you to say just the opposite.
No, but having said that, I went to Phuket a couple of weeks ago and I thought it was like busy, but other people are saying not quite as busy. I think they might be comparing it to like the 2019, but
Yeah.
it's quieter than it was then.
I only know, Phuket 1990 to 97, and then here since May 2022. So there's a huge gap there, and in between, what I remember from the 90s working in the hotels on Phuket was that there was a very distinct difference between high and low season. It's like someone turned off a tap.
Yeah.
And then 6 months later turned the tap back on. And it was very much synced with winter in the Northern Hemisphere. Coming back, I came back at the very end of COVID now and have lived here for 2 years. And I have not seen as distinct a division between the two seasons. But here on Turtle Beach, they've never really had Phang tourism to begin with. So I don't know what would be expected here on Turtle Beach, but a subjective observation is that it's different than it used to be. Yeah.
I was speaking to Kun Pla at Chip Phe Lele.
Yeah,
today,
know the girl. Yeah, know the woman.
And
yeah.
they run like a coffee shop. And people will know, who've been watching this channel, that there were days doing the live program where we get I'm not sure what the collective noun is for cyclists, a horde of cyclists turning up at the...
Yeah.
Is there a collective noun?
For a bicyclist, I don't know. A plethora.
A plethora.
A herd, a pod.
Yes.
A murder of cyclists.
I was going to say a murder of cyclists.
Yeah.
I'd like to, I can tell you, with a clip-clop, clip-clop. But they are not turning up anymore. Pla says they're not coming, and they, of course, used to be... they'd buy a coffee and a cake each, and that was a good spend.
Well, I suppose those are groups and tours that you would book in advance. And if I was booking a bicycle run for this time of year, I'd be a little skittish about it, because the rain does, I can tell you, affect you on a bicycle. It'll blow you right off the bicycle.
Having said that, hasn't it been a bumper couple of weeks?
Yeah.
Been beautiful weather.
Yeah, what happened to the rain? It came for 2-3 days and then it went away.
I think it's coming back tonight or tomorrow night.
Well, I
will
would
rain.
like to see it. The heat, I much prefer damp and cool to damp and hot.
I'm out watering the garden every day at the moment because it's just been so dry.
Yeah.
So bring on the wet season.
Yeah, it's easier to do my paper mache turtles in the dry. But other
Because they
than
dry
that,
fast.
They dry. Well, they dry it all. Yeah.
Right.
I'll have paper mache sit there damp for a week in my living room in the rainy season. Yeah.
So paper mache, it's paper,
Mm-hmm.
flour and water, or
You can do it that way. I use school glue.
Clag.
Because flour, I don't like using food. Same reason I don't like ethanol put in gasoline. The idea that we're growing corn and there are people starving, but we're putting the corn in our gas tank really bothers me. So I don't use flour to make my paper mache. I use the cheap white latex school glue that you buy in any store here.
I think the corn they grow for ethanol is a different corn than they grow for humans.
Yes, I'm from Iowa, so I can give you the lecture. We only do corn and pigs. The land that it is grown on. Popcorn is different from sweet corn, which is different from feed corn, which is different from what's grown for biofuel. But they're all grown on the same land in Iowa. And an acre of land that's being used to grow ethanol instead of corn you can eat, I think is a waste. I think that's immoral. So
immoral?
Immoral. Even, yes, God, yes. For me to get in my car and drive down to the 7-Eleven to buy a pack of cigarettes and burn food when I will drive past people starving on the sidewalk to get there, yes, that is immoral. That being said, I had a 90-minute commute, 90 minutes to work and 90 minutes from work before I came here, and I burned a ton of corn in my Toyota. So yeah, I am philosophically opposed to it, but practically I had to get to work like anybody else, and the only way you get to work is through the fossil fuel economy. There's no escaping it. So there you go.
Can I ask you, you've now
Yes.
spent some 2 years here in Thailand.
No, I don't miss the commute, if that's what you're going to ask. I don't
I'm pretty
miss the
sure you
commute.
don't.
Yeah.
Did you, well, talking about the commute, what did you do during that hour and a half? Did you listen to podcasts?
Audiobooks.
Audiobooks.
Audiobooks. The Las Cruces Public Library had, I don't know, maybe 1,000 audiobooks, and that's what was available to me.
On a CD?
On CDs. You would
Fabulous.
there would be like 10 CDs to cover a big book. I started out listening to Mexican radio because even in the United States, that close to the border, it's Mexican radio. I don't speak any Spanish, so I didn't recognize the music. I didn't know what the DJs were saying. So once I discovered audiobooks, and I drove a car, 93 Toyota Camry that still had a port where you could put in a CD. It wasn't just the thumb drive like they are now. Oh, I enjoyed those books. I enjoyed listening to those books very much. I had a lot of what they call driveway moments where you get home and you sit in your driveway listening till the chapter ends.
Right,
You don't want to turn it off, right?
Yeah.
Driveway moments. 3 hours a day of listening to books. I read an awful lot of books in those years.
What I was actually on my way to asking you was, of all the things you might miss from Iowa.
What, I digressed?
I
digressed?
So what do you miss from, I mean, Iowa, you sort of put it down quite often.
I hope not.
But do you miss something from Iowa?
Well, if it does sound like I'm putting Iowa down, I apologize to my fellow Hawkeyes.
Jest mostly.
I very much enjoyed growing up in Iowa, and I made a specific decision to raise my children in the house that I was raised in Iowa. I very much enjoy Iowa. I miss college football for 6 Saturdays in the fall.
What, playing or watching?
No, God, no. No, I used to run a football parking concession for the local school. I could park 250 cars on our elementary school campus, and it was the oldest building still being used as a school in Iowa City. Needed a lot of repair, a lot of work that the school board was not prepared or not funded to do. So I raised $33,000 a year for that elementary school by parking cars on a football Saturday. And in the depths of my social anxiety disorder, when I was housebound for 4 years, I could leave the house, go to the parking lot, and deal with the drivers and passengers in 250 automobiles on a Saturday afternoon with no panic attacks, no nervousness, and I could run this huge operation. On 6 Saturdays, I made $33,000 a year. I miss that, being outside in the fall, the change of seasons. Oh my God, red trees. I want to see yards full of leaves and dads out there with their pipe raking leaves. I miss the change of seasons. I miss that. Yeah.
We certainly don't have. We have a hot season, and it's either wet or it's not wet.
Right.
That's about it.
That's it. Yeah. And
Always
that's
hot.
great. That's great. This place is great too. I left this place for 25 years. I missed it every single day. But yeah, thank you for asking. I do miss Iowa. Yeah.
And thanks for asking about me.
How about what is that place you come from? That island?
Austria?
Austria. Yeah.
Yes.
Wart ihr miss in Austria, mein Herr?
And why do you Austrians? Why do Austrian tennis players speak English so well? That was a question I got one day. What? Do you think many Americans, if I gave them a map and said, point to Australia, do you think they'd actually know where it is?
Well, Iowa has very good public schools. Yes, in Iowa, many could. And Australia is a very well-known place. I mean, we knew Dame Edna, and we knew that's not a knife, that's a knife. You know, we
Crocodile
know
Dundee.
Crocodile Dundee.
If you don't know who Edna is,
Dame Edna, and my mom had Banjo Patterson on her bookshelves. I think, yes, Australia, if you showed most Americans, not from Iowa, a map of the world with the nations delineated but not named, not labeled, probably 5% of the countries Americans could label. Canada, the US, Mexico, Australia, the easy ones. Then I think most Americans would peter out and would not be able to fill in the names.
Thailand?
No.
My mother
Never.
would put a big circle around this whole area and call it Asia,
Well,
where Asian people live.
And Steve, why do you like Taiwan so much? Yeah. Or they all
Thailand.
Thailand.
I think there was a former president that called it Thailand at one stage.
Yeah, there was, and the reputation of Bangkok as a Sodom and Gomorrah, sin, depravity,
Bangkok
that
or
reputation.
Pattaya? Bangkok?
No, I think Bangkok, people who know Pattaya in America would have that impression, but I think most Americans would know Bangkok. The Hangover movies did no great gift to this country. No favors were done there.
I loved it in Hangover 2, where they're in Bangkok and they make a right-hand turn and they're in Phuket. Just go down the road and just turn left and you're in Phuket.
It's where it only that easy.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of thing happens too. The Man with the Golden Gun, we talked about last week. And
James Bond movie.
It plays around with that, with the geography as well. There's a very famous car chase through Bangkok, and they get in the canals and they go in boats, they jump out, they commandeer vehicles, they're driving down the streets, and they go from, I think, the intersection of Asok and Sukhumvit, and 2 blocks later they're in the rice paddies, and they're driving through rice. Movies take liberties with Los Angeles does not really look like it does in Blade Runner.
And there was a Indian movie, a Bollywood, like full-on Bollywood movie, music, dancing, the whole thing, made in Melbourne, Australia, where I come from. And of course, when it came out, I just had to go and see it because,
as you do,
I saw them filming it. When it came out, I wanted to see it. I wondered how Melbourne turns out. And there was a scene where they're driving down Flinders Street, one of the main streets in town. They take a left-hand turn, and suddenly they're 4 hours down the road, down the Great Ocean Road, which is a beautiful area. That happens in movies.
Yeah, you got to let artists be art, man.
Did you see on? Oh, you don't watch Netflix anymore, do you?
No, sir.
Because you're living sort of depraved, poor life.
There was nothing to watch. I canceled my subscription. They were
So you
taking
didn't-
$9 out of my credit card every month. There was nothing to watch. Yeah.
Did you see, so you didn't see the movie made in Phuket recently?
No, I have not.
Which was called Husband of the Bride.
Husband of the, Mother of the Bride.
Mother, yeah.
Mother of the Bride.
It was a sort of a spoof of the Father of the Bride movies with Brooke Shields, who I saw last walking with Christopher Atkins along a beach in a trench, because she's 6'3" and he's about 5'2", when she was like 19 or something. But yes, she's in her 50s
14,
now.
15, I think.
Oh, was she?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because there was.
Where's the phone?
And wasn't she? She was in Pretty Baby, so she was portrayed as having sexual relations before the age of 18 in 2 very famous movies.
We haven't seen her much though.
Well, she had a TV show called Veronica's Closet for 8 or 9 seasons in the States.
Well,
Yeah,
she's
she
doing
was-
much better than I
Oh,
thought.
yeah, I think so. And she was married to somebody famous. I don't remember who.
Hey Siri, how old was Brooke Shields in Blue Lagoon? 22. Age
22.
Age in 1987, 22.
Well, Steve got it wrong. You don't have to write in. Siri proved me wrong.
Well, I think Blue Lagoon came out earlier than that. Hey Siri, what year was Blue Lagoon filmed?
He loves this. He loves this.
Well, I mean, it works, except when it doesn't
Yeah,
work.
it doesn't work. Yeah, but you got to let Hollywood be Hollywood. You got to make of Brooke Shields what they will, and make of Bangkok and Melbourne what they will.
Do you know my sponsor, 5-Star Marine,
I've heard of them, yes.
who take people out on bespoke
Yes.
charter tours
Yes,
on
I've
Phang
heard
Bay?
Yeah.
And they do a very nice job. They are sort of pivoting their business, which I think is a really good idea, especially in the low season. They're doing they're helping movie crews, so they're providing the marine
Logistics.
so the marine unit. And this week they've had like 20 boats out filming. I think it might be Jurassic Park, but I don't know.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because I know they're filming Jurassic Park in town at the
Yeah.
moment.
Well, yeah, Thailand's very popular. I remember going downtown in New York City to see an Australian movie called Echoes of Paradise, filmed on Phuket, down the road from the Phuket Yacht Club and the resort that tried to blow up the Phuket Yacht Club when they were building it, which, by the way, I don't think was ever the Royal Phuket Yacht Club. Your previous guest
I think it
yesterday on the
was.
live show.
I think it
don't
was.
know. I don't think so. It has to be
I'm
owned by
asking
the
Siri.
Crown. To use the word royal, it has to be owned by the Crown Property Bureau, like the King's Group of brothels in Bangkok on Patong.
I beg your pardon.
Yeah, the King's Group, King's Palace, King's this, King's that. That was all owned by the Crown Property Division back in the day.
Royal Phuket Yacht Club, Agoda. I'm clicking on that. I think it
I'll
was
be
called.
damned.
I think it
I'll
was
be
called
damned.
the Royal Phuket Yacht Club,
I taught English there. I never heard it called anything but the Yacht Club. Well, again, Steve
which is
got it
now
wrong.
called the Naihan.
The Naihan,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure it was called the Royal Phuket Yacht Club.
But
Anyway,
at any rate, yeah, the movie. When they were building that, they were cutting off the road to this little resort down on the spit of land past the yacht club, and they could only truck in water. They had a swimming pool to fill, and they had guests to give water to. And Momtree was going to cut them off from water and put them out of business because he didn't want this little bungalow joint down the road from his big flashy yacht club. So they tried to blow up his yacht club. But while they were doing that, they filmed the movie there, an Aussie movie about a middle-aged Aussie woman who comes to Thailand, to Phuket specifically,
to teach the king's children?
to fall in love with a Balinese dancer played by a Chinese actor named John Lone.
I love it.
That was his first movie, John Lone's first movie.
And his last, I think. I've
No,
never heard of
didn't
him
he?
since.
John Lone played the king in the Jodie Foster King and I, didn't he? Wasn't that John Lone?
Chow Lo.
Chow Lo. I think originally his Farang name to make Farang movies was John Lo.
Oh boy.
John Long.
It's going to be a busy Steve.
It's going to be a busy Steve got it wrong. We'll have plenty for Narelle's notebook.
Right.
But at any rate, I went in the dead of winter to a theater in Manhattan, the only one that was playing this movie, to see Phuket because I was going to take a vacation in Phuket. And a lot of my impressions of Phuket were formed by that movie. And it's lovely. Oh, it just paints Phuket as an idyllic paradise, which I guess it was.
Parts of it still
I
are.
guess it was.
Parts of it still are. Parts.
Okay, parts.
Well, we're going to an area.
The parts Steve's never seen.
I'm going today to an area up north of Phuket, which is much like this. Quiet beaches. Well, I won't see a tourist all day.
Okay.
Now, you mentioned the word Manhattan, and I suddenly, a question out of nowhere.
All right.
There are two types of people in this world.
Okay.
There are those that like Woody Allen films and those that don't. And I'm
Okay.
going to ask you the question. It's time to out yourself. Are you a Woody Allen movie fan or not?
Ooh. Well, that's hard to say because very much admired his early films. Never laughed harder in my life than at, oh God, Steve. The one where he goes into the future and it's his portrayal of the future. And taking vitamins, don't they have hot fudge sundaes? Don't you people know hot fudge sundaes are good for you? And I loved early Woody Allen. His legal troubles and the descriptions of his family life since then have kind of soured me on that. A lot of artists that I once enjoyed. Yeah, it's hard for me now. I do believe we have to separate the artist from his art.
So do I.
I don't think anybody ever made better dance music than Michael Jackson.
No,
but he was
just
an
gonna
absolute monster in real life.
Yeah.
How can you step into an elevator where Beat It is playing and not immediately think about that?
I removed all the Michael Jackson songs from our radio set list when I was running a radio station because people used to complain. I thought, I just don't need the hassle.
But at the same time,
back to Woody Allen.
If we knew the private lives of absolutely everybody who'd ever written a song or written a book or painted a picture, how many of them could we continue to enjoy their art? Who knows who Leonardo Van Gogh was diddling, right? I mean, we don't know. So it's a real tough area. But as far as Woody goes, the movie Manhattan, where he kind of outs himself as liking underage girls and as thinking that having a love affair with an underage girl is kosher. Right now in this day and age, back then it was quirky and we didn't believe he was actually doing that. Now I think it would probably be fairly hard to watch that movie. So I don't know, but Annie Hall, my God, it's art. It's high art.
Yeah.
Annie Hall.
I was outraged enough with Michael Jackson to sort of think, no, I'm not going to listen to his music anymore. But for some reason, I've given Woody Allen a pass. I still enjoy his movies. I had a penchant earlier this week to watch 3 or 4 of his movies in a row, which I thoroughly enjoyed because I was doing research for a video about that piece of music, Rhapsody in Blue, which is used at the start of Manhattan. And then I thought, because I loved the movie when I first saw it, and so I went and watched Take the Money and Run, which is one of his funniest, like real slapstick.
What's New Pussycat?
What's New Pussycat? What else did I watch?
What's the one
Midnight in Paris?
What's the one in the future of oh my God, where he goes into the future?
Anyway, I can see it, but I can't
Anyway,
remember
when
the
he
name.
was trying to be funny,
Zelig, which was
really
very
funny.
clever.
Zelig,
before they really had CGI down pat. There's quite a lot of interesting stuff. Anyway, tell us, are you a Woody Allen fan or not? And as I said, this is apropos of nothing. But does his personal life colour the way that you look at his art? Or have you never seen a Woody Allen movie in your life and you've got no idea what we're talking about? He was also in, he was the villain in the James Bond movie, in Casino Royale, 1967. Because he was 5'6", and he was he invented these fembots with the, and they were going to destroy all the men who were over 5'7" in the world. That was his evil villain plan.
You had asked. That's David Niven, right?
He played James Bond in Casino Royale.
So which
was a comedy. James Bond.
Because they didn't know what to do with the property yet. Which is exactly mirrors Ian Fleming's experience writing those books. I had the opportunity in the car driving to El Paso and back to listen to the first 6 James Bond novels in a row, in order. And Casino Royale is the first one. And because Ian Fleming was a rabid card player, he played cards every night of his life. He drank alcohol, played cards and golf, and smoked cigarettes, and that's all he did. He was a journalist and he was an editor, but for the most part, he drank and smoked and played cards and played golf. So there's a huge golf game that's in
Goldfinger?
In Goldfinger.
Moonraker?
And there's a big card game in Casino Royale. 2 chapters are describing a card game, card by card by card. He didn't know how to write a novel, but over the first 6 novels, you can hear this guy teaching himself how to write a novel until you get to number 6, which is Dr. No, and it's splendid. It's a magnificent novel. Never mind a genre novel, never mind a spy novel. It's just a superbly written character study of a man who's not sure he likes his job or not.
Do you have a favorite James Bond or James Bond movie? Do you rate them at all?
I haven't seen them all. I haven't seen a lot of the later ones. I thought Roger Moore, that was an interesting take for 3 or 4 movies that sort of half campy, half comedic, going back to, because he had really big shoes to fill, right? He had to follow Sean. And I think probably if I had a choice, someone said you could only watch one James Bond movie for the rest of your life, I would pick Dr. No. I think Sean was a terrific spy, and that movie, Ursula Andress coming up out of the water.
Iconic.
So I think probably Dr. No is my favorite. But I do, Man with the Golden Gun, it's all about a prop. Right, it's all about that little gold gun that you snap together. So I gotta love a movie that's about a prop, named after a prop. I'm required by the union to like that movie.
Yeah, thanks for asking. My favorite was...
I suck at that. I suck at that.
Was The Spy Who Loved Me,
okay,
which featured the Lotus Esprit flying off the pier, going into the water and turning into a submarine.
Turning into a submarine, yeah.
And I've owned 2 Lotus Esprits. It inspired me.
Did you drive them off a pier to see if you could do that?
I thought about it, but I didn't.
Dum 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 dum.
Weren't the most reliable cars, but my God, they were fun to drive.
In submarine mode, they were much more reliable.
Yes. Yeah. Even on the
Guaranteed
road.
to sink.
Yeah. And okay, now here's one that everybody might be able to contribute to. Who is going to be the new James Bond?
I don't know her name.
Oh, you think it's going to be a she?
Oh, I think that'd be a great way to go. Why not? Yeah, I mean, because what are you going to do at this point to freshen up that property? What are you going to do? We've gone through 6 Qs, 9 Ms, 7 Jameses. What do you do to spice that up? Now, that has failed miserably. The Ghostbusters, that was a femme cast, that failed miserably. It doesn't always work. And you probably couldn't do it the other way. Could a man play Modesty Blaze? I don't think so. But I'd like to see a whatever the feminine of James Bond is. I'd watch that.
Jane Bond.
Jane Bond, yeah.
There was an outlier for many years. Robbie Williams, English singer, he was in Take That, and then he went solo and became huge. Robbie Williams did a song called Millennium, which used or sampled You Only Live Twice, the song from You Only Live Twice. And the video clip shows him sort of pretending he's James Bond. And I thought, yes, he could do it.
He could do it.
But I don't think he's sort of stand up. He's not in the running. All the people they're proposing, I'm sort of thinking, they're pretty boring. So I have Woody Allen. I think he should do it. Because he played the villain once. He could now be James Bond. And it'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Would anybody go?
Bond? James Bond? Shake it, not stirred. It gives me agita.
It's time to go to Norel's notebook. So we've talked for 28 minutes about absolutely fucking nothing.
Welcome to the show.
Yes.
When we turn off the camera, we keep doing this, right? You know that, right? By the way, I enjoyed the live broadcast with Tim, the other Tim.
Tim Shaw.
Tim Shaw, very much. you guys have good chemistry, and I like that very much. That was watchable. I think congratulations
I think
on that.
I've sort of over the years realised I'm a really good fall guy. I'm just a really good second banana. I'm good talking to people and just letting them go. That's sort of my shtick.
I thought I was the second banana here, but okay.
You've been promoted.
You are good at it, and if you look, there are within this genre, the old white guy in Thailand genre, there are other guys who try it and don't succeed. It takes a very real talent to be able to sit and do this with a guest, and you do it very well.
Well, with you, I just need eternal patience.
Yeah, everybody does. Everybody needs eternal patience, and thus he lives alone. All right. Steve got it wrong.
Sit back and relax.
Yeah,
it's going to be a long one.
And go. Yeah, I told you got it wrong. I told you, Steve. I told you Steve was wrong, didn't I? Here, rewind that. I want you to hear it where he admits he's wrong. Mea culpa. I had said all chemicals are natural. Somebody had said something like, "I don't drink that. It's made out of chemicals." And I said, well, everything's made out of chemicals. We're all chemicals. Someone wrote in and said very cleverly, yes, all chemicals are natural except the ones made by man in a lab. And it turns out that is true. I was thinking of elements, I think. I was thinking of elements. The word atom, a meaning not, and tom meaning to divide. Like magnetic tomography, to divide, you cannot divide it, atom. So elements is what I was thinking.
How many
of.
elements are there?
A bunch.
Yeah. I think currently, this is Tim's got it wrong, I think there's currently 116, I think. So now Steve is going to name them in order.
Oh,
off we go.
I watched enough Big Bang Theory. It's a song in Big Bang Theory that he goes through in alphabetical order. He names them all. And then there's another song where he names all the stars that are visible from Earth in order of distance away from Earth.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's a great show. Did you ever watch Big Bang Theory?
Sure.
God, I love that show.
And
10 times every episode.
I have to say, however, it doesn't do well for a second viewing for me. Sheldon sort of gets on my nerve a bit. I much prefer watching young Sheldon. I find that a bit more,
okay.
I don't know, just sort of seeing the life of a Midwestern family in the 90s. It's just sort of a bit more watchable.
Okay, they're Southern, they're in Texas.
Okay, sorry.
Yes,
Southern Texas.
The kid who is the outsider.
Maybe the northern part of Texas, which is sort of close to the Midwest.
No, it's the Gulf Coast. They live just south of Galveston.
Sorry.
Medford, Texas.
So Medford is a real place.
No, but in the show, it is just south of Galveston.
Okay.
Did you watch the last episode? Because the series just ended like a few weeks ago.
I've only watched what I can see free.
So this season probably.
I haven't seen the last season where
I haven't either.
Father.
I haven't either. Yeah. We knew that was coming. They wrote themselves into a corner on that
Sure
like 15 years ago.
Yes.
Some writer said, well, let's put it in that his dad's dead. That way we only have to hire an actress to play his mom. We don't have to hire someone to play his dad. And now they're dealing with that. Yeah.
So the last one I saw was when there's a tornado wipes out their two houses. That's which is the series 5 or something. Anyway,
that kid grew up fast.
Yes, he did.
Okay, Steve got it wrong.
The older he got, the less he looked like Sheldon.
Yeah, true. But I think, the kid who is the outsider, all of us, I think everybody, even the captain of the football team, when you're young and adolescent, you feel like you're an outsider. You feel like you don't fit in, whoever you are, I think. So that resonates, that trope of the outsider looking in. I think that resonates, and that's
But I was the cool guy.
Were you?
Oh yeah, I used to bully everybody. Oh yeah, I was the.
I was not. Yeah. All right, more of Steve got it wrong, and this one hurts. This is probably the first time since we've started doing this that I took pause and thought, you really need to keep your mouth shut.
I think that every week.
I said Somebody said in a comment, or you said, methinks the lady doth protest too much. And I said, you know what people don't realize is Hamlet is talking about his mom in that line. No, Gertrude is describing the actress playing her in the play within a play. So the line is referring to Gertrude. It's referring to the queen saying, no, I didn't murder my husband so that I could shack up with his brother. She is protesting too much, but it is Gertrude herself that says it.
Out of, wasn't Shakespeare. It was
Yeah,
Shakespeare.
it's Shakespeare, Hamlet.
It wasn't Hamlet.
And it was Act 3, not Act 5.
Okay.
I said Act 5. Everybody's dead at the end of Act 5. The stage at the end of Hamlet is a glory. There's, I think, 6 or 7 corpses on the stage. That's it. Only Horatio survives the play. That's it. But I got that wrong.
Had a pretty good sort of a kill.
Yeah, there was a lot of stage
rate.
blood, a lot of Caro syrup and red food coloring.
Have I told you the story about Julius Caesar at Peninsula School? This will be for David
I don't
Clark.
think so. Go on.
No, I'm pretty sure I have told you, but you've forgotten. You forget everything I tell
Everything.
you. Yeah.
I'm
Tim, by the way.
If I bother to even listen, I forget
Yes,
it. All right.
I'm sure I've told it.
So that, whoever pointed that out, kudos to you, and I am going to write the University of Iowa and ask for my mother's money back because my theater degree is obviously useless. Most famous play in the English language, one of the most famous lines out of that play, and Steve screwed it up. So, yeah, the University of Iowa owes my mom money.
Okay.
All right, jasmine tea. Oh, we had a brisk conversation about what is jasmine tea in the comment section.
Well, I knew that it wasn't. Whatever you said it was, it wasn't. And I forgot to pick you up. I should have, because I would have been able to score one against you, but I didn't. But somebody else did.
Well, I don't think I mentioned it. It would be weird for me to mention jasmine tea. I've never had any. I drink only coffee. Well, there was one side of the argument that said jasmine tea is simply green tea with jasmine flowers added to it.
That's what you said.
Is that what I said?
I think so, yes.
Well, it doesn't sound like me, but okay, let's go with that. The other side of it is that jasmine tea and green tea are completely different things.
Yes.
Like black tea and green tea are different things.
Yes.
And, yeah.
Green tea, bleh. Jasmine tea,
Coffee, yeah.
yes.
Stamp fair tax. So after 3 episodes, where we've come down on women in Thai boxing. It's a new, apparently, innovation. Historically, women were excluded from boxing professionally or training in gyms. But now it's a thing, and there's a woman named Stamp who fights under the name Stamp Fairtex, because she comes from the Fairtex gym in Pattaya, and she's quite a deal. What I didn't realize until researching this, she's one of the 2 little 9-year-old girls featured in the movie Buffalo Girls. I keep encouraging you to go look at the movie Buffalo Girls. It's about 2 professional 9-year-old female Muay Thai boxers. Turns out she was one of those little 9-year-old girls.
Right.
Yeah. And so it is a thing now. It was not a thing before.
Well, how do you think about female Muay Thai?
It's just as stupid as male Muay Thai.
Okay.
I don't get it. I don't
think I share your
I
your feelings
understand,
there.
Coming from America, I understand the idea that people want to defend themselves. They want to be able to defend themselves. There is a confidence that comes from athleticism. I get that. If the average Joe wants to go to the gym 3 times a week and practice his right hook because he thinks in the street he might run into a bully. Yeah, I get that. I think the odds of you actually running into a bully are probably pretty slim. But I get that. The idea of paying money to sit and watch 2 guys beat the crap out of each other, unless there's plot attached to it. I'll watch Daniel Craig beat the crap out of a bad guy on the roof of a moving train as it goes through tunnels. I'll watch that all day because there's plot. There's narrative. There's
And it's
character
not real.
development, and it's not real.
Yeah.
But sitting in a smelly arena and having to use a public bathroom in a smelly arena and paying $9 for a hot dog to watch a baseball game or a football game or a boxing match, that has always gone right over my head. I just don't get that. It's not for me. But a lot of people can't stand reading books, you know. People say with pride, "Oh, I don't read." So, you know, different strokes, horses for courses, right?
So
Whatever.
people are now looking up how to spell woke,
Whatever floats
woke
your
and
boat.
liberal.
Woke and liberal. Oh, I'm woke as hell. I'm
Yes.
woke as hell, and we're winning, and we will win. Bernstein
there's
versus
another-
Bernstein.
There's 20 comments.
Yeah,
on
I'm
the
that too. Bernstein versus Bernstein. Leonard.
Can you say both?
Yes, apparently he
I think-
did. Leonard Bernstein, when he was addressing a Jewish crowd, would call himself Bernstein. And when he was addressing a Gentile crowd, it was Bernstein. So
Really?
he himself,
Mixed it
when
up.
he wanted to express his Jewish nature, he would call himself one thing, and when he didn't, he would call himself something else.
Yes.
So there is that. People did
I
try.
couldn't care less. He was very talented.
People did try to correct you, and as it turns out, you were at least philosophically correct. Root beer
We're
versus
still talking about root beer.
sarsaparilla.
Oh my God.
Well, if what would you
No.
like to talk about?
Well, no. I'm just amazed that people care to still talk about
Oh,
it.
of course they do.
Root beer and
They
sarsaparilla.
care about what we talk about. That's the important thing, that we talk about it. Sorry. And they tune in for the shirts. Some guy got real angry because somebody else commented on a shirt.
That is another lovely Gordon shirt.
Oh, thank you, Gordon. Yes, another box of shirts and shoes this week.
And Peter
Yeah.
Pfeffer, there's your books in the background. And on the other side of you too.
Yeah. And I had Maurizio's coffee this morning.
gee. Any other
Manzoni.
sponsors?
Yeah, Manzoni coffee. If you're ever in Kamala, try some gelato and coffee at Manzoni's. Oh my God, that's good coffee. That is good coffee.
And
Thank
good
you
ice
so
cream
much.
too.
What else? Any other? Nobody's given me gas for the motorcycle yet. I glued bottle caps and cigarette lighters this morning to a rhinestone reptile. And some of those were donated by friends and viewers. So we have a very generous fan base. Thank you guys. You're
Thank you.
very much appreciated.
And girls.
And yes, hand wash, cool, line dry, reet with a cool iron. Yes, Gordon. Thank you. The root beer comes from the sassafras root. Sarsaparilla comes from the something vine. They're not the same thing. Sarsaparilla and root beer are not the same thing.
I'm guaranteeing that the stuff that you get in a can of sarsaparilla and Dr. Pepper root beer these days doesn't have anything from a plant in it.
But
It's all artificial sweeteners.
All
and
chemicals
stuff.
are natural.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Deck Wan. I called them Deck Win because that's how it was typed in the comment. Deck Win, W-I-N. It's Wen, W-A-E-N. There is a very good documentary. There's a very good video by a channel, Keis1 or Keis1.
Keis1.
Adam.
Adam.
E-I-K-I.
Yeah. Hi, Adam.
Hi, Adam. Keis1. He did a very good piece on the Dek Wen subculture in Bangkok. I mispronounced it, Dek Win. It is Dek Wen. In that documentary, he mentions they take the mirrors off for wind resistance. If anybody told you that was actually going to affect your speed, I think they're lying to you, but whatever floats your boat. Laying down like Superman on the seat, that I think might affect your wind resistance because look at all this surface area that you're removing, but those two little mirrors, that amount of surface area, I think scientifically that's not going to increase your speed. No. But if that's what the Dek Wen believe will happen, then more power to them. Just keep them out of my neighborhood. When you were doing your live show this morning and you were at the coffee shop and I was at home and I was gluing lighters onto a turtle and listening to you.
Glued to the radio.
Well, glued to the computer, yes. And I would hear in front of the window where you were, I'd hear this whine. And then about 5 seconds later, right in front of my house, whine. Same guy. That happened 4 or 5 times during the show.
Oh, right.
I could probably figure out the distance if I was a physicist.
Then the Doppler effect.
Ding, 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 ding.
When I was living in Bangkok, which I was pretty much full-time during the weeks anyway, for 2 years, I used to use the wind drivers 3 or 4 times a day. Very helpful, never had a single problem with them. Cheap, quick, efficient.
You're talking about motorcycle taxis?
Motorcycle taxi drivers, yeah.
That's not the Wen. That's not the Deck Wen.
Oh, okay.
Deck Wen are teenagers who bother everybody with their loud motorcycles.
Oh, okay. I'm talking about the wind drivers, the motorcycle taxis. I beg your pardon. Tim got misinterpreted.
Yeah, I also used them here, and I have used them on the few occasions I went to Bangkok. I think that it's the only way to get through that traffic.
Yeah.
And you're not going fast enough, I think, to be, if you can tuck and roll when you hit the pavement, I think you're relatively safe.
Yes. In all my years, I heard of very few, we're going to get some answers on this, very few accidents with, I mean, they do it all day, every day. They're good drivers, probably souped up with some chemical.
And they don't care much about you, but they will not damage their bike if they can help it.
Sure.
So they won't lay that sucker down and slide it if they can help it. So, and honest to God, anytime you're on a motorcycle, right, dress for the slide, not for the ride. Thank you, Bad Badger.
Oh, nice.
Right? Dress for the slide, not for the ride. Cover your elbows and your knees.
We enjoy driving our motorcycles around here. It's a good way to get around to the 7-Eleven or whatever.
I've just purchased one of those old people's mobility scooters.
Oh, do you know what we should do?
What?
We're going to have a drag race between the Mercedes and your new three-wheeler.
Scooter, yeah. Well, Mom will give it a name. But I ordered it. It came. I brought it home. I charged it.
It's bright green.
Yes. They didn't have blue. They were out of the blue. I took it back to the shop because the turn signals were not working, and they said that'll take a week. So I had it for overnight.
There's not a single
I don't
turn
have it
signal
again.
that works anywhere in
Thailand. But I thought my mom would need a turn signal. I want to trick the thing out with all kinds of flashing lights.
Bottle caps.
And well, it's flags, things for her to be seen, for Mom to be seen on the road. She's never going to go anywhere except this road right here, the beach road. But I want her to be as safe as possible. So I'm going to put flashing lights all over the thing, so who's going to notice the blinkers anyway? But it's there now, and I told them, okay, a week, and that's what it is.
Get a bit of a clip? Does it get going?
No.
No? Oh,
no.
Okay.
It's got 3 gears. The first gear, you can walk next to it.
Okay.
And have a conversation in the first gear.
Right.
And I will encourage Mom to take it on her first day out here to the cattle pasture and ride around out there where there's no cars and no traffic. Get used to it and never take it out of first gear. Third gear, you would have to run to keep up with it.
Okay.
Third gear is when you're really going someplace and you need to get
15,
there.
15, 20 kilometers an hour?
Yeah, something like that.
That's about the top speed of the Mercedes.
Yeah,
so.
I don't think you can get it up fast enough that if you twisted the yoke real hard in one direction, it wouldn't turn over.
But you might be able to do a wheelie.
I don't know.
Bit of skidding. Oh, I'm going to try.
We're going to try that. Yeah, we're going to try it. We're going to have fun with it till Mom gets here, and after Mom leaves, we're going to keep it, and because another couple of years I'll be there. This particularly the left hip, I'm having real problems.
Really?
Oh God, yeah. Well, I have been for years.
But you've got another one.
I've got another one, yeah. And now, whenever I need to push off, if I get up out of a chair or get up off the sofa, I need to use the right leg to push off.
They can replace those.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm 66. I don't know if I want to go in for that kind of a major surgery in the Phang Provincial Hospital. But I may get there. If I get to the point that I literally cannot walk, I will have to do that.
So I think we've got a long, flat, straight road, and I don't encourage bad behaviour on the roads. However, I'm thinking we're going to invite Chad Burdett from CB Media. He does all the sort of the Bangkok car shows with the ladies draped over the hood.
Pretties, they're called pretties.
And he hoons around in his very fancy, tricked up BMW. And we're going to get him with his BMW. We're going to get the Mercedes, the blue Mercedes, which has just come back from a bit of a makeover. And we're going to get you in your three-wheeler. And we're going to have a drag race. We can all already assume that Chad's going to win, and he can order the coffee, so it's waiting for us when we get to the finish line.
You
So
know,
I think that's a good video.
I wrote an essay, I think it's in Expat Days or Phuket Vignettes, about on Phuket, you can tell the man by his ride. You can tell a lot about somebody by what they're driving. And this was written in 91, 92, something like that.
They're going to be very confused with me then.
But I think, you know, here you are, you got the classy Mercedes. It's beautiful to look at, it's utilitarian. It doesn't go terribly fast, but that's not what you're interested in. This other guy has this BMW that goes very, very fast. That's what he's interested in. And what's Steve driving? He's driving an old guy's, you know, mobility scooter because he's got bad hips and he's a hypochondriac. So yeah, you can still tell the man by the ride. Yeah. All right. The Nullarbor, Null Arbor, no trees. Nullarbor.
In Latin.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? I love that. Whoever pointed that out, I love you. That is
Nullarbor.
Nullarbor.
The Nullarbor
Isn't that
plain.
wonderful?
Between Adelaide and Perth, which takes about 2 days to drive, and there's nothing out there except for all the things that people apparently say are there that I don't think are.
No trees.
No trees.
Nullarbor. Etymology. Someone took you to task for the way you pronounce the name of the landlocked country that shares a border, the northern border with Thailand, which I call Laos.
Oh.
And you apparently divide it into 2 syllables.
I say Laos.
Laos.
A bit 2 syllable-ish.
2 syllable-ish. And a few people wrote in to say, call it Lao.
Yeah.
Call it Lao.
Did you check it up?
No, but again,
I've always
that's that
called
argument.
the people Lao, but the country Laos.
Yeah.
That's
you know, since
me.
America, since black body bags, since we were bombing the crap out of that place, I've called it Laos. But again, the argument, you know, I don't say Peri. I don't call it what the natives call it because I'm not a native. I don't say Peri. And Pattaya. I say Pattaya. You know, so
Pattaya.
Pattaya. But I take people to task for calling it Phuket. Oh my God! I don't know how many people over the years
I have never
corrected
heard
Phuket.
I've heard some people just humorously describe it as "fuck it."
Yeah.
But they're doing that for comedic reasons.
Yeah. Well, there are videos of, you know, these
really
digital creators who I'm going to introduce you to the 10 little known secrets about Phuket. You know, and I comment, as I am wont to do, dude, that's not the name of it. Oh, Steve, there are various dialects in Thai. Don't you know that? No, this is not about, this is the consonant being an aspirated consonant or a non-aspirated consonant. Anyway.
I have trouble, amongst other things, with the capital of Malaysia.
Is that Kuala Lumpur?
Ah, okay. So maybe because I'm Australian, I sort
American.
of Kuala Lumpur. I find it very difficult to pronounce Kuala Lumpur. I mostly just go KL, like the locals do, because I just find it difficult to pronounce. Kuala Lumpur.
I can't remember the last time I had occasion to say that name.
Have you been there?
I was not even sure. I think as a child, my mom and I visited or flew through.
1936.
Yeah, it was 67, 68. Yeah, I was not even sure if that was Indonesia or Malaysia. Again, the product of the American public schools and the arts stream. Never took geography or science or math or any of that stuff. I just took painting and drawing and writing. Yeah.
I have to say, in my defense, and people always pick me up for my pronunciation, I'll never get it right. I try, believe me, I do try and get things right. But in my defense, when I'm reading it, it's usually sitting there on a page of some publication and you can see what they're saying. If I do pronounce it wrong, do you know what I'm saying? That's all that really matters. Yeah. Get off my back.
I would hate to hear a Chinese news broadcaster pronounce Iowa City, you know, yeah. Or El Paso. Okay, now I have 2 subjects, which we're done with Steve got it wrong, Tim got it wrong. Believe it or not. Do we have time left?
Yep, go.
All right. So the 2 things I want to bring up. There is an expression in Thai, mai tong kit ma, You don't have to think a lot. My don't kid, don't think about it. And it is an
I
expression.
do hear that quite often.
Yeah, it is a philosophy in this country, kind of like mañana in Mexico. Or mai pendrai. Mai pendrai means never mind, right? Mai pendrai, mai pendrai. They work hard at not taking stuff seriously. In fact, as far as I know, the words I know for hate and to be serious are the same word, kriet. Ya kriet, don't be serious. Pom kriet nan, I hate that. As far as I know, to my ear, they're the same words. I've never seen them written, but as far as I know, the word to hate and to be serious are the same word. So we are constantly encouraged not to take things too seriously.
I get that from number one quite often.
Oh, yeah.
Just don't take it too seriously. Don't overthink it.
Yeah.
This is something that I go, oh, I don't. They go,
Well,
don't overthink it.
That's my question. Is that something we like about this place or something we don't like about this place? If your partner is okay with you going out and having a few beers at the bar and maybe chatting up a bar girl and buying that bar girl a drink, and your partner is okay with that, yakit ma, I don't think about it, I just don't think about it. We're fine with that. But if the contractor listens to explain how you want the roof attached to your house, and then he attaches it with baling wire and duct tape, and your partner says, yakit ma, don't kit ma, then are we still on board with this? You don't have to think, don't be serious, don't be serious.
I usually get the don't think too much about it, which usually means think a lot about it.
Yeah, beware.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
That's the way
red
I
flag,
interpret
red
it.
flag.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what do you think? I am at this point, after 35 years of experience with this country, with a big, big gap in the middle of that, but thinking about this country every day for 35 years, I'm okay with it. I can roll with it. 30 years ago, no. 30 years ago, I chased two boys on a motorcycle in my little Peugeot. I chased them down Chow Phar Road on Phuket, banging on that horn because they cut me off. And I was coming home from work. It had been a shitty day at work. I was coming home to my wife. We had a shitty relationship. I didn't want to go home. I wanted to go anywhere but home. And these two boys cut me off. And I chased them down the road, laying on that horn.
That would have gone down so well.
Yeah, it was good for me to leave. Not for 25 years, but it was time for me to leave.
Yes.
But I have not always been so lackadaisical or laissez-faire about yakit ma. I am now, I think, at 66 years of age, and I'm not trying to do anything. I'm not working for a living. I'm not building houses. I'm not striving to achieve anything. So if Cham Nan listens very patiently to me telling him how I want the weeds cut in the backyard, and he comes and cuts the weeds how he damn pleases, mai pendrai, mai tong kit.
So this week I told number one, is it okay? I asked the question, is it okay if I go away for a week? I just need a holiday. I've been working for like 4 or 5 years, the whole tiger thing, and setting up my own business and moving, and I just need a break. Just Tim time. 7 days. Oh, no problem. And 5 minutes later, oh, where are you going? 5 minutes after that, 7 days? 5 minutes later, who are you going with? 5 minutes later, who's paying for this? And then I'd sort of go, oh, well, if it's not okay, I won't go. Oh, don't overthink it. Don't think about it.
Fine.
Which,
yeah.
So I was awake all night last night going, how am I going to? But I am going.
Yeah, there you go. You got this beautiful blue car. Take it somewhere.
No, I'm out of the country for a week.
Oh.
Now you're going to be asking all the questions.
No, I don't care. No.
Oh, you do?
Go. Yeah, sure, I care. Where are you going?
If I gave you half an hour to guess where I'm going, you would not guess.
No, I would not.
You're absolutely right.
You remember me? How many years we've been doing this? A year? And I never ask you. You have to give, yeah, thanks for asking. I don't. I have.
Couldn't care less.
I have a condition.
A disease.
I have a condition.
Yes.
And it's very hard
Don't
for me
think,
to
don't overthink
even
it.
feign interest in other people's lives.
Yes.
That being said,
Yes.
how are we on time?
Oh wait, we got one. Go for it.
Because this came up not on this channel, but somewhere else. But it's a pet peeve of mine. I think I may have talked about it here. I don't know. I think traveling with children is doing a disservice to those children.
Oh, you've spoken about this a number
Have
of
I?
times. Oh yes,
Yeah.
but could do it again.
Yeah, if you're new here, chime in. Yeah, I don't think it's good for children to be uprooted and unsettled. I think children need to grow up in a home, in a neighborhood, in the same schools with the same other kids year after year. I think children very much psychologically need stability and continuity. And growing up on a yacht between Langkawi and Phuket,
A yacht.
whatever, growing up on a boat,
Yacht.
on a wooden boat, or growing up in a succession of rented homes on tropical islands and going to a succession of international schools, I don't think a child wants that or profits from that. So that's all I wanted to say, and you can tell me if you think Steve got it wrong.
Well, it's not a matter. I think that is an opinion, and
Yes.
that is your experience.
Yes.
I think there's also some parents who have decided to go travelling, pack up the kids, and off they go, and they homeschool the kids, and they're very careful about making sure the kids are enjoying themselves and settled and in their own unsettled way. I think it can work for some people. And a lot of kids who have come through that experience say it was wonderful. I had a great time. Of course, neither have got the other experience to compare it to.
Yeah.
So it just ended up a good experience for them. But yeah, I've spoken to people who said they grew up traveling the world, and I grew up in the same town, went to the same school, and
And you're perfectly normal and happy.
don't overthink it, Steve.
Yeah. My kid now.
When I see these young people traveling the world with their parents, I get a bit jealous, thinking that would have been fun.
No.
Here you go. You see,
Yeah.
the grass is always greener.
Yeah. All right. The grass is greener on the other side.
And with that,
That's all I have.
we thank you all very much for watching. We appreciate the time that you spend with us. We hope that we've covered 5,000 subjects in an hour. And I'll be back on Monday with my daily news program. You, of course, have got a beachcombing channel.
Once a month, the first of the month.
And the odd special.
Well, I did a special. Yeah, we released some turtles were released, and I got some video of that, and I made a special mid-month beachcombing video.
And you
Thank
can
you for
also watch
mentioning
the governor almost being washed out to sea.
yeah, some gray-haired official.
So if you want to see what it's like wandering down the beaches of Thailand this time of the year, I can highly recommend beach combing on Turtle Beach.
Yes.
No. Yes?
Yeah.
Beach combing on Turtle Beach. There you go. This has been Steve Ross. My name's Tim Newton. This has been Grumpy Old Men.
Thank you, Tim.
I think
I very much appreciate this.
We were
Thank
more
you.
grumpy than usual today.
Perhaps. At the end there, I was. Yeah, it's a sensitive subject. I don't know why I brought it up again.
And will this be something that you bring up with your
Brings
mum?
nothing
She's
but
here
grief.
next month.
No. No, my mother and I have shared a house, the two of us,
You've
for
talked
something
it-
like 30 years of my life. We have said everything to each other.
You've discussed that with her at
Yes, of course.
Okay,
I
I'm
mean,
sure you'll do it again.
40 years ago,
Okay.
when it was happening, I discussed it with her. Yeah, but no, my mother and I, like I said, have shared digs for a great portion of my life.
I'm very much looking forward to meeting Betty Ross.
Yeah, I'm sure she's looking forward to meeting you.
Please subscribe to the channel. We look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you. Bye.